Alright, it's been almost 2 days, so 48 hours, slightly less, since we placed this concrete patch, and that's the time that this compound, according to the specification, is needed in order to set properly. So in 24 hours it's good enough for foot traffic, and in 48 it's good enough for vehicle traffic. So right now we're almost there, as you can probably tell. Let's take a closer look. I put more plastic right on top of that. The reason for that's not surface protection, that's actually to retain moisture. So basically what happened in the last few days, it's been really hot. And by really hot, I'm talking about 30 degrees Celsius, or for our American friends, about 90 Fahrenheit. So that's pretty hot. That's not ideal for setting and curing of concrete. Basically what is happening when concrete is wet, many people think that once you place it, the wet concrete, the water evaporates and concrete dries up. And that's what happens when it becomes proper concrete. That's actually not what happens. Concrete, or cement in this case, actually binds water in crystal, so it's a reaction of sorts, and that's what forms concrete. So there are a couple things that flow from that. One is too much water is not good for concrete. So unlike something that just dries up, if you add too much water, basically water stays in between the crystals, so it takes the place that should be taken by proper concrete. So that makes it weaker. So that's why there are always recommendations not to add too much water, just as much as needed, where the manufacturer, otherwise the concrete is going to be weak or weaker. Another thing is that if it's too hot outside, then the outer layer of moist concrete, the water is just going to evaporate instead of bind into proper strong concrete. And that means there's not going to be enough water in the top layer to form crystals of concrete to the extent that it's supposed to do. And again, that results in weaker concrete that's going to flake, that's going to peel off, things like that. Not great. That's why in the hotter temperatures, you want to retain this moisture for as long as the concrete sets, at least, if not cures. And how do you do that depends on the mix that you're working with. Regular concrete, quite often recommendations are to spray lightly mist of water on top once in a while, periodically. For this one, it's actually not recommended. Fast setting patch concretes, not recommended usually, but what they suggest in those circumstances is to place film on top, just like that, so that the evaporation of water is greatly retarded. So concrete has more time to actually bind this water into itself. So that's that. So, but let's just take it off and see what we've got here. All right. That actually doesn't look too bad. So it's relatively flat for what we need it to. The surface is rough. I mean, it's probably hard to tell here, but basically it's similar to sandpaper, which is kind of what I was going to for traction. We don't want it to be too smooth. There are no cracks what I can see. Some discoloration patches, what you can see is really the moisture dripping from the film. just the condensate. So all in all, not too bad, especially considering that the first time I worked with this stuff. And so what I want to do right now is to clean up. As you can see, there's a lot of mess around this block that we just made, and that's when I told you that we are not going to regret placing a lot of masking tape and film around that for protection. That's going to all pay off right now, I think, as we start to remove all the junk around that. Because what I would like to do is to do one other thing before resurfacing the area there, is to fix the front edge of that. But in order to do that, I'll need to, like sort of the lip, I'll need to clean up the existing stuff. And because we did run the edger on one side, that should be a relatively straightforward process. So anything that still binds there should have really weak bonds, so we should be able to take care of that relatively easier. But we'll see if that's going to work out like that or not. Let's see if we can get a closer look. As you can see, I'm basically just hitting it in the groove of the edger, and yeah, by and large there's no bond there, so it just goes right away. And it flakes on top of the baking rod down there, so you see all this stuff is just easy to take out. So that worked pretty much exactly as I thought it was going to do. And that's that. Worked really well. There was a little bit of chipping on one side that I may want to repair or leave it as that. I'll show it in a second. But now I'll need to do the same thing for this edge and remove all this junk from out here. But as you can see, I almost done with that part. I just need to take it out. It's not bonding to anything there. And that will leave our seam or joint here in fairly clean and good shape. And that's exactly what we wanted. All right. Alright, now we can pull on the tape and see what's actually down there. as you can probably tell, things are so much easier than we have tape. The cleanup is just easy. Like so. Alright, and that's that. This cleanup would be so much harder if not for all the prep work that we have done. So check this out. We just step back like that. Again, as I said, looks pretty good to me. It's perfect now, but I think it's going to serve its purpose. And yeah, so here's the little chip that I was talking about. Let's see if we can, right here. So again, really, like now looking at that, I can't even see it almost. I may consider just to attach a little bit of patch there, but we'll see. So one thing I was considering doing, and now I'm not sure I want to do it, is to repair that edge. As you can see, this edge is chipped. I mean, some of that I chipped just to open the seam, but because I'm planning to use some kind of flowable material here, I can do it at the same time, but that's probably not best. So if I want to repair it, I'll probably need to do it just right now, just to form a little bit of edge, but I'll have to think about that. And I'll see you next time. See ya.